My name is Clara Jensen. I am 32 years old and I live in a small town called Valley Ridge. My life revolves around my family, friends, and the adventure of everyday moments. I am a dedicated mother and wife, balancing the daily hustle of working at a local marketing firm with school runs and family dinners. But I also hold a spark of determination and a resolve that can ignite when I feel things are unfair or imbalanced. My friends often describe me as someone who stands her ground even when she has to fight through the storm. So you can imagine what happened to me at the grocery store when I encountered a rather rude man who decided to make my day more difficult. It started out as just another mundane trip to get groceries. My husband was expertly bagging our items while I stood in line, waiting to pay. The smell of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, which almost masked the other scents of the store, but my attention was pulled in a whole different direction. Behind me, I could feel the sharp, persistent nudging of a shopping cart digging into my hip. At first, I tried to ignore it, assuming it was just an accident. However, each nudge felt more like an intentional push. I turned just enough to see a man, perhaps in his 40s, who wielded his cart like it was a weapon. The way he smirked at me made it clear he was aware of what he was doing. I placed my hand on his cart and gently moved it back, signaling for him to respect my space, but instead of backing off, he feigned innocence, acting as though nothing had happened at all. His demeanor fired me up. This was blatant disrespect, and I could not just stand there and take it. The next time he shoved his cart into me, I decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. I bent down to pick up a stray produce bag that had dropped to the ground, but instead of simply retrieving it, I unintentionally turned my body, allowing my hip to connect solidly with his gut. The satisfying sound of an oof escaped his lips confirmed that my plan had worked. For a fleeting moment, I felt a surge of power, a triumph in what could have easily been a frustrating ordeal. Shockingly, the man kept his distance after that little encounter, which was good because I was starting to get fired up. Then, as I stood there waiting for the cashier to finish scanning our groceries, I noticed she was taking her sweet time. I could not help but wonder if she recognized the jerk behind me or if she was in on my little prank. Either way, I made a choice right then. I was going to take extra time to make sure I had all my ducks in a row. Something stirred within me. For too long, I felt like I had been pushed around, and this was my chance to reclaim a bit of dignity and control, even if it was just in that grocery store. I decided to ask for a loyalty card, which I had honestly been meaning to get. However, I exaggerated my curiosity and allowed the conversation to drag out as I asked question after question. I could see the frustration building, especially from the man behind me who was starting to huff loudly. His irritation only fueled my resolve. I kept conversing with the cashier as though she were an old friend, making inquiries that extended my weight and sowed seeds of annoyance in the man behind me. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I glanced back just in time to see him shifting uncomfortably from one foot to the other, cursing under his breath. My gaze caught his eyes, and I allowed a small smirk to cross my lips, making it clear that I was quite aware of his mounting frustration. As I finished my transaction, I could feel the satisfaction of having turned the tables. It was a small victory, but for me, it meant the world. I walked away from that grocery store with a sense of pride, feeling as if I had reclaimed my space, and it brought a bright glow to a day that started off so innocently. From that moment, I vowed to stand up for myself more often, to not let anyone push me around without facing the consequences of their actions. Valley Ridge may be a small town, but I learned that even in the most mundane places, one little act of defiance can ignite change. It was a simple reminder that it often takes just a little push to make a big difference.